I wonder. No, I'm going to put it in quotation marks. It's kind of, anyways. Is it with you and say with Sean? You know, those kind of trying to make a joke. Is it sacrilegious to talk about Star Wars?
No, not at all. Why?
Okay, because some people are like Star Trek or Star Wars. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry, that was a
Yeah.
dumb joke. It was
No,
because
there
I
are
know
people.
that.
Yeah, there are people
Oh,
who
yeah, I think my
either
brother, he's
or.
like, oh, Star Wars, it's good, but it's fantasy, whereas Star Trek is science fiction, you see. Anyways,
Right.
whatever. No, I have another point I
Yeah.
want to make, but it was more like, um, that if you're a Jedi and you see that there's this certain power within the universe, like it's almost like Jedi is like Wicca, right? Is that true? It's almost like that,
Maybe
right? Or
it's
this
more
kind of,
Sith.
obviously it's an
Oh, yeah.
imaginary world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
if you can see that you can focus the energy of the
I got a
universe
perfect thing for you.
for
Hey,
good,
listen
but
to
then it's
this.
like, oh, but I want to do some of that dark stuff. So then you're pulled over into that guy that says he can give you more if you go to the dark side. It's almost like that
That
Wicca,
would be
maybe?
exactly as I was
Kind
going
of?
to say. Like Sith would be Wiccan, and Jedi would be more into the demonology, dark parts of the witchcraft. So you have like two
Hmm.
ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, and then it's sort of, yeah. And
We talk
well,
like Anakin
and there was
Skywalker. He wanted,
guiding dogma to both of them. Just like there's kind of,
yeah.
well, there's sort of guiding dogma to Wicca, but it's not strong enough to say, hey, don't do it. Like they even say right at the
Well, let's
13th
say
point, it's like, we won't do it to harm anyone. But it's like, how are you going to make everyone not harm everyone kind of thing? I don't know. Something like
yeah.
that.
Well,
Or why isn't that point
let's
number one?
put let's put a Force user as a Wiccan now. So a Jedi being a Wiccan now that had that they aren't they don't want to harm anybody. They want power, but not at the expense of anybody else, and they tend to help. Whereas Sith, being the darker part of Wiccan and witchcraft, they're all about themselves. They want more power. They don't care how they get it. They'll hurt other people to get it. So like Anakin Skywalker, I don't know if you're a Star Wars fan or not, but Anakin Skywalker wanted to
Yeah.
save his wife from dying. So
Yeah.
he was he was influenced by Palpatine, who was a Sith Lord, in order to get a power to save people from dying. That's only a Sith power. So he was trying to help his wife, which was a good thing, but he was doing bad things in order to get it. So in
Yeah.
order to become a strong Sith, he had to kill all these Jedi, including younglings. So he killed hundreds and
Yeah.
hundreds of
That
people.
he just went.
So
Yeah, that was
it
the
was like,
slippery slope thing.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. So he just
Real
wanted to help
slippery
one
slope.
person. So is that one person's life worth all those hundreds? To him it was, but that's the evil that he
Mhm.
traded to become or to have this kind of power. Ultimately, it
But
didn't
like
work.
one little step at a time, though, right? They tried
Exactly.
to
Yeah,
build it up. I didn't really like those first three because I thought,
I
wow, they
did.
had a long way to go. They had to build him from a nice kid and just one step at a time till he got to that point of like, I'll do it, I'll do what you want. And he got there, but I thought, really? He was a, but I
Oh, it
see
was a
he
whole
had the power
story.
of foresight, so he could
Yeah.
see her dying. He could
Right.
see her dying. He knew that that was going to be true. Like there was no doubt,
Yeah.
right? He
The funny part is though, if he didn't do anything, he stayed as a Jedi, she might not have died. She died
But
because he
that's,
became a Sith.
yeah, it's true. And I don't really, that part of it is like, wait, is there free choice? Please tell me that's not mean that, it was going to happen anyways. You know what I mean? But I hope that,
Oh, we're
or
going to
it's almost
Calvinism
like that,
now.
like,
Yeah.
right? But it
Yeah.
wasn't like a perfect, clear message. He misinterpreted what it looked like. And obviously she didn't die. He perceived that message that she was, oh no, she died in childbirth.
She
Oh
died
no, that
after
was,
after childbirth, but she died because she didn't. Well, she died because she thought she lost Anakin. That's why she died. She saw him turn to the evil side. Um. So it's like
oh no, but
his
he thought
choices.
she was dead earlier.
His choices made a
He,
self-serving
I
prophecy.
don't know, anyways.
His choices
Sorry.
were a self-serving prophecy. So his choices killed her. Had he stayed a Jedi, had he not done anything like that, he might have had his kids not, you know, she wouldn't have died. He would have had two normal kids. They would have grown up as powerful Jedi, and everything would have been fine. But his choices, he lost all of his limbs. He was burned terribly. He had that wear that suit the rest of his life, and his wife ends up dying,
Yeah.
and he loses his kids anyway. Well, yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
it's
it
like,
was just, but then he got it back in the end somehow.
no, he redeemed
So he
himself in the end.
reconciled before the end, as it were.
Yeah,
But it was, yeah, no, but still, okay, wait, sorry. So is it?
he was the chosen one.
But just that, like before he gets burned, so just his path to evil. Ah, sorry, I'm trying to bring it back to our discussions, but
No, you can. I think you can reconcile it with what we were talking about because, like, is
just kind of the Wicca thing, but also just like the path from how to
well, I'm
make
saying,
one
I'm
bad
saying,
decision to again, like
right.
he
Well,
gets torn
Palpatine
away
was
from his
trying to.
family, and then
Well, Palpatine was controlling him, manipulating him in order to bring him to the dark side. So he was telling him all
and
these
he had
things
that
that
ego
might or
too. He had
might
a
not have been
natural
true.
ego about him, right? He
Right.
had a natural
Yeah, yeah.
prideful self, and that was he was
Yes.
just poking
He
him like,
wanted,
you deserve better.
Anakin wanted
Why aren't
more and
they
more
like
power.
rewarding you
Right.
more?
Yeah,
You
he
know?
wanted more. He
And so whereas,
desired more and more power, which is what a Jedi doesn't
and he
want.
wasn't even
Jedi
supposed
doesn't
to have
want.
a girlfriend either. He
No,
wasn't supposed to have a girlfriend. That's it.
no,
Which was
no.
kind
They
of a
weren't
weird
supposed to get
thing. I thought,
married.
like, man,
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
know,
I
but
know that.
he
It's
wasn't
just
supposed to
I
have
don't
one.
believe. It's like a Catholic priest. I don't know if they should stay unmarried or not, but it's another story for another
No,
time. But,
that's it. I think it's
but
better
these
to
little
like.
things.
I think
Well,
another
like I said,
story.
his
Not that I have anything against
personality.
Catholic priests, but I think it's like it's a tough thing to do. And if you want to really
Yeah.
concentrate on something, but I think that the human flesh is just. I don't know if we can really expect someone to do that and be sane afterwards.
Many
It'd be
do.
good, but concentrate on what you're doing. But
Yeah.
just don't blue ball out your whole
It's
life.
actually yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it's
Like you
biblical
gotta get.
anyway. You want to serve God,
It's a
get married.
biblical
But
thing.
we'll get
Yeah.
into that another time. But his
Yeah, and
personality,
whatever.
Anakin's personality, being a Jedi, because a Jedi being a Wiccan, he wanted more and more power. So the more power he wanted, the deeper he got into the dark side. So
Mm,
when he
yeah.
fought Count Dooku the second time, Count Dooku told him, "I sense anger. I sense hate in you. You wanted to use them." So when he started using that anger and hate in the fight, he won. So the
Yeah.
anger and hate gives you power, but it's a wrong kind of power because it ends up
Yeah.
deforming you in some way. So every Sith in the history of Sith have some kind of physical deformation because of the battles, their choices, or Sith alchemy. Sith alchemy, let's say there is Sith alchemy, Sith witchcraft. So let's we can bring that into
There we
our
go. There we
discussion
go.
of
There's yeah.
witchcraft. So performing Sith alchemy and witchcraft takes a toll on your body. It deforms you in some way. So Palpatine, when he looks normal, that was a Sith hologram or some kind of spell in order for him to look normal. After the fight with Mace Windu, when he became deformed, he became deformed. That was his way he normally looked, because being a Sith
Uh,
deforms you. So
okay, I see. And then he tried to use that as an excuse. But he was actually that ugly.
right,
He was just had this mask spell on or something like this.
exactly
Yeah.
right. It's all right. It's a mask spell. Yeah, he was really that ugly all along. And it takes a
Because
lot of power and
oh, because
strength to
you
keep
yeah.
that mask on too.
So you would have looked into like I hadn't looked into much beyond those 6 movies or 7 or
Neither have I. I
8.
haven't seen anything
I
else.
haven't watched the last one actually at all.
Neither did
And the
I.
one before that I watched it, but I wasn't. I was very tired, so I tried to think about the
Disney
plot
screwed it up.
afterwards. I'm like, I don't know. It was looks pretty cool. I guess
Disney
what's
screwed it
his
up. So
name?
we're not.
Indiana Jones there died. I don't know. That was terrible. And then but all
Han
the good
Solo.
friends are there,
Han
robots and stuff.
Solo. Yeah.
Han Solo. That's right. Just kidding. But yeah, no. It's no, but they're really fun films. I really like getting into just like a whole nother universe that someone created for you to just play
In a
around
galaxy far, far away.
in a galaxy far, far away. And so we're that we can imagine these things. Like it's just great to see. I don't know what
Yeah,
we
but
call it, magic, or
George
I shouldn't have
Lucas
said
always.
magic, but something like this, like just greater powers at work and just how it could interact with morality. Like, what if there was like 100 people in
Yeah,
the world that could
exactly. As I was
really
gonna say. Yeah.
manipulate all these things? That
I
would
was going to
like
say George
change
Lucas
how.
had this vision of pure good and pure evil, and how easy it is to fall from that pure good side to pure evil, just being selfish and wanting more power. It's that whole thing. So we can go from person being a Christian like your friend to practicing witchcraft or Wiccan, now coming into a coven. So that whole fall from being totally good to totally evil. Not to say she's totally evil. I'm not saying that, but it's like that. It's a progression. And deep, I'm
How
afraid the
one
deeper
can
that
go
she
there
gets
and
into it,
come back
yeah.
too. Like
Oh, you can always come
I
back.
don't know.
Darth Vader
Like
came
it's
back.
not
He
like
was trying
there's
to upper Palpatine.
that's it. I was thinking one time I was like about not that they were ever like identical people or something, but like Sean and his friend Steve, they were coming up on a certain path. And it obviously
Yeah.
went different ways, or well, and I think they're both coming into a more and more loving kind of, well, I'm not saying that Sean was like unloving or something, but when he was talking about,
No, Sean
Steve
even
being
actually
very
admitted that he was
nihilistic
having a
before.
lot. Sean was having he actually admitted he was having problems with his addiction and his personality, being angry all the time. So like he fell fall from grace, maybe I don't know, but he
Yeah, no,
understood he
no,
had a
no.
problem. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
but
I'm
no,
just
I'm
saying.
talking more about like the Steve kind of nihilistic problem, right? And to
Oh yeah,
come
yeah.
up from there, basically, and they come from, I guess the
A baby
similarity
step,
between them
yeah.
was more the kind of the party, the rock and roll kind of thing, right? And then
To
that, like
go to
again, one
actually
went maybe
to
more
actually want to have
nihilistic
a
and one went
charity.
more.
Yeah. But to Steve to actually have a charity too. Donate to
Yeah,
something. I
his
mean, it's amazing. I mean, that's not
snow
that's like
tires charity, it's weird ass
right.
charity, but it was
But
just like,
still, it's
so yeah,
saving
I try and
people.
say Steve, but Steve's obviously not a nihilist, and I don't ever
No.
believe it. He claims to be, but it's like, come on, buddy,
No, I don't. Like you
that's not
said,
what a
there's no such
nihilist
thing as
is.
pure nihilism. But
There's no
like you
such thing.
say, Steve, that totally selfish attitude now to wanting to have a
Yeah,
charity to save people to have snow tires in Canada. That's a big step, and that's a
thanks, man.
step from total admission of
Yeah,
nihilism to think, well, maybe there's something bigger I should donate to. Maybe there's something I should
that's it.
help.
And that's
And
the same thing, like these guys that like kind of turn over a new leaf in any kind of way. Like that you would say if you saw them like in their day, as it were. Like even reformed criminals, after 20 years in prison, someone's just like found God or whatever, right? Whereas
yeah,
if you would have met them back in the day, it's like that's what pure evil is. They've got like
right,
tattoos
yeah,
all here. They're just like killing people when they can, and then they just reformed in church or in prison. Say, I just give that example. Like that would be the most evil thing to the most good. That actually can happen. You've seen
it
these kind of
can.
examples too, right? So that
I tend to
evil
think that
exists, but it can be kind of pushed out, as it were, or pushed back,
oh,
even
good is
within a
always more
one
powerful
person,
than
right?
evil. Even in
That's
the
it.
Bible, good
So
is more powerful than evil. But I tend to think that these criminals who turned their lives around and found God only did it because they got caught. I don't think they would have done it if they didn't get caught. But you don't
I
know
don't
too.
know.
There's a lot of criminals too that change
It's a
their life around
powerful
because
motivator. You
yeah.
get a lot of time to think
No,
about
it
your
is. It is.
mistakes, right? So yeah,
It
I
is.
agree. Like you might have to get caught, might have to spend that time in the cell to really, or maybe it takes another 15 years until the guy finally goes like, oh wait, I am a dick. I don't
Yeah.
know, but you get a
Like I
chance,
said,
and not all ones do reform either.
I had a friend who was a friend of a friend who was a hardcore drug user. He took a bad acid trip. He saw God, got completely off drugs, and now he's a kind of a preacher or something. So he
Yeah,
never got caught either. So so there's
yeah, it
influences.
can
Yeah.
work. And it'll be your mother or your grandmother, whatever it turns you around. Like again, there's going to be a yeah, the crack.
Well, Sean
There's going to
said
crack in that evil heart.
his son was the one that turned him around. He wanted to get clean for
Is
his
Sean
son too.
watching?
I don't think so.
Oh, I thought
No,
you. Oh, I thought he was a comment he was saying. Oh, I thought. Okay,
no,
sorry.
no,
I thought you were reading his comment. I'm like,
no, no,
you're
no,
a
no.
viewer? No.
No, Sean said he wanted to get clean. Sorry, Sean, for making a mistake, but he said he wanted to get clean for his son too. And you saw the problems he had with his
Yeah.
anger. So it's not like he wasn't a bad person, but he wants to make himself a better person. So he's
Oh yeah,
kind of
yeah.
training.
No, and
Yeah,
we do. Yeah. And I think that that's the thing too. Like you. Well, anyways, I can't read other people's minds, but I think that's a desire. We want to get better, and then some people would see that as get more powerful, and they're just it's just driving that same energy
in a good way.
better,
Yeah,
better, better, but it's not better in terms of for me more loving or something. Better is more their bank account is bigger. Better is again better for Anakin Skywalker. Better is saving this next woman in my life because I lost my mother because I didn't get there fast enough. So I have to try harder this
yeah.
time. So better is trying harder to save my wife. So just what better is, I don't know where I was going with that, but it felt like I was
No,
like, if you think it's better, you've just got that messed up definition of what better
think
is,
it's
right?
better, but
Something
doesn't
like
hurt
that.
anybody else while you're getting better. That's the key. You
And
gotta hurt
yeah,
somebody else
and to
to get
keep
better.
that golden rule in your pocket, right? Or
Exactly.
no, that's
Yeah.
the golden dog poop rule. Make sure don't use that one.
That's why you're training
And
as
just
a
to keep it
Jedi.
clear, like,
When you train as a
mm,
Jedi, you keep everything internal. You work out physically and mentally. You get stronger in the Force. For a Sith, it's a lot of external. You hurt other people to get their power to become.
Right, yeah.
You do evil. You perform Sith magic, and that's how you become powerful. So it's like one is self improvement. The other one is you're improving yourself, but you're becoming powerful based on other of the to the disadvantage of other people.
Disadvantage, yeah.
Right. So
Did you?
or even
Oh,
killing
what
them. Good.
was that? Star Trek?